The world that they offer you is gray and promises dystopian control. They offer you safety and security purchased with the currency of your freedoms. But on this channel, we say absolutely not. The warmth and freedom of individual liberty will pass on from us to the next generation, and it starts right now. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, and hashtag free the suppressors. Because it turns out that the opponents of freedom, Giffords.org, the gun controllers, they've rallied. They were caught unawares when we got the suppressor removal inside the House Big Beautiful Bill. Now they've recouped and they're coming after the Senate, because what I want to show you right now is not only lies and propaganda, but also a pretty big tell of what they're afraid of. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below. Guys, you gotta send this one out. Let me hear you in the comments. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, because you are single-handedly overcoming the YouTube censorship algorithm when you do it, and I couldn't do it without you guys, and thank you for that. Something else I couldn't do without you guys, we couldn't have the channel, which is why we have these merch designs to fund the entire fight we're in. Look good while you're pushing those rights forward, because quite candidly, we're coming for our frickin' rights. I love this design. It's a limited time design. There's a link in the description box below. There's men and women's shirts for both of those colors. Guys, the very fight of what I'm about to show you is why we wear the merch we believe, which is why we fund these things, which is why we support these channels. This is why we do what we do, because we are done with the bullcrap. We're coming for our rights, and the suppressor jailbreak is on the way. We're gonna grind. All right, let me get right into it. I respect your time, but you guys gotta know this one. As you can see, the target was acquired earlier when I posted, this is what we're gonna talk about. The Giffords.org post, which they have new polling, and it's coming out and turned out that all those senators who got to scare them away from suppressors. Yeah, let's dive into this. Make sure you follow me at Braden LOA. You not only get to find out what I'm going to talk about before, but we also have open communication and antagonize the gun controllers. It's a great time. Let's go. All right, here we are. Poll from Giffords.org. Not biased at all. 3 out of 4 Senate battleground voters oppose selling silencers without background checks in Trump's big, beautiful bill. Okay, right off the get, flag on the play. No background checks? Because the way the suppressor was removed from the NFA was, it was still in the Gun Control Act of 1968, so it's still considered a firearm, which would be behind a 4473. Now, don't let facts get in the way of a really good political scare fearmonger narrative from Giffords, but they'd still be behind a 4473. And by the way, I personally think they shouldn't be behind a 4473 because they're a tube of metal. But anyway, besides that fact, they're wrong. Anyway, let's keep going. Senate battleground voters will be less likely to vote for senators who vote to loosen silencer regulations by a 48-15 margin. Oh, okay, no BS there. And I've got the new poll too. Watch this. Oh God, you guys are gonna love this because antagonism works. Spread this out on X at Braden LOA, and everybody you want, tag them. Let's go. According to new poll data, again we're going to show you. Currently, under the NFA, buyers must pass through a background check and register each silencer. Silencers are rarely used in crimes because the law has successfully stopped them from falling into the wrong hands. Okay. Suppressors aren't used in crimes because people don't use suppressors in crimes. It's kind of like they don't use AR-15s in crimes statistically because people would actually kill more people per year with hands, feet, hammers, and what was the other one? Knives. Yeah, knives. So, let's not get facts in the way. Let's go back to the fear-mongering, the scary, and the outright just hypothetical crap. That is not correct. But don't worry, let's keep going. Current laws stopped the shooters in 2022 in all these different shootings from accessing silencers. How do you know? There was no evidence whatsoever that they were pursuing suppressors. Like, at all. You're just making crap up. Anyway, let's continue. Under the House's big, beautiful bill, silencers will be stripped from the NFA and subject to the same loopholes and trafficking that have fueled the country's epidemic of gun violence, including loopholes that will permit them to be bought and sold without background checks of any kind. How? Cite your source. We can't because you turned comments off on this post. Yeah, jump in on X. Let's just blow this out of the water. So there's loopholes from putting the suppressors out of the NFA, which would still be behind 4473s. You still have to have the FBI NICS background checks, but somehow you're buying suppressors with no background checks. Again, don't let facts get in the way of a good narrative. They are lying. Shocker. By the way, little side caveat is the fight warms up because this is the first shot across the bow. Make no mistake. Question. What power did Congress use to put suppressors behind the National Firearms Act along with short-barreled rifles and machine guns? The answer is the power of taxation, because if they did it in any other way, it would be unconstitutional. So just throwing that out there. More to come on that. Now let's get into this, the poll of voters. Guys, so many voters. Wait till I show you the numbers. So many. A Giffords poll of voters in 2026 Senate battleground states, oh my God, the battleground states. 74% of voters, including 59% of Trump voters, think silencers should require a background check. Well, that's great news. They're behind the Gun Control Act of 1968, so they do. So we don't have a problem. Anyway, voters oppose making gun silencers more available to the public by a 61 to 22 margin. 58% of Senate battleground voters say loosening regulations on silencers would make things more dangerous for the police, coming from the group that was defunding the police all day long in the COVID thing. Only 15% of Senate battleground voters would be more likely to vote for a candidate who voted to loosen regulations on gun silencers compared to 48% who would be less likely. Guys, this is so many people. It's everybody. Everybody. Oh my God, what's that number highlighted? 607 people. Let's continue. This quote. Voters across the political spectrum understand that selling silencers to anyone, no questions asked, again, what, will increase crime and put police officers at risk, defund the police Giffords. As the Senate formulates its own version of the bill, they would be wise to remove this dangerous provision. Bing! That's what they're targeting, right here. Battleground senators putting pressure from the left, remove the provision. Republicans have to remove the provision. More to come on all this in another video, but that's their target right there. They're showing you their play. Anyway. Oh, my goodness gracious. We'll make sure voters are paying attention, said Giffords Executive Director Emma Brown. Oh, we will too, and we have more reach. Republican senators can see this as an obvious political loser. Voters don't want criminals to have access to silencers, which is why 3/4 of Senate battleground voters oppose allowing silencers to be sold without a background check. Yeah, 607 whole people. Oh my God, look, I have the polling. Look at this. How about some of these questions? I'm going to ask you some questions about gun regulations, specifically about gun silencers. Gun silencers reduce the sound of gunfire. Generally speaking, do you think making gun silencers more available to the general public is more of a good idea or a bad idea? Here's some information about the legislation on gun silencers. For nearly 100 years, the laws on the books made gun silencers hard to obtain through the power of taxation. That's why, unlike in the movies, silencers are currently very rarely used by criminals. But Republicans in Congress, in the middle of the night, passed a bill to deregulate silencers, making them cheaper and easier for anyone to buy. Having heard this, let me ask you again. Good God! Yet nothing biased at all there. The dark of night, suppressors, movies, criminals. Do you still feel the same way? God, these people are so pathetic. But that gets back to the whole point, and I'm just going to do a little circle right here. The number one reason that we need to do things like this, support the channel and support the channels you support and fuel the fight by getting amazing merch and wearing what you believe, link in the description, and then also following on X to spread this out so we can dispel this propaganda bullcrap for what it is. This is the fight, guys. They are coming right now after the senators to remove the provision by targeting battleground senators. I don't think that it's going to work because you know why? Because you guys are going to be a lot more active and make a hell of a lot more noise than their little people are, the 607 people who clearly represent the entire population of the United States. Guys, time to nuke this stuff from orbit. Antagonism, full green light. Get on my X. Let's freaking go. At Braden LOA. I can't wait for the memes and the mockery. And I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. Later.